All right, welcome back. Thought I heard my name. Good, let's roll. And now, leading a conversation with powerful women building strong blockchain applications and making bold bets in the space, please welcome Clara Bullrich, co-founder of TheVentureCity, along with Laura Vidiella, VP of Business Development and Strategy, LedgerPrime, and Rhia Bhutoria, General Partner of Castle Island Ventures.
Hello, everyone. Lots of girls, not too many boys.
Shame.
Shame. Well, today we're going to be talking about two of my favorite subjects, blockchain and women. And I couldn't be happier to have these two amazing superstars with me.
You're a superstar.
Exactly.
Superstars. And so I would love for them to do a proper introduction on who they are and what they do. The floor is all yours.
Should I kick it off?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Rhia Bhutoria. I'm honored to be here on the stage with Clara and Laura, two of my favorite people. Who am I? It's a very meta question. Well, growing up, I moved around a lot, so saw a lot of different cultures, and eventually went to school in New York and studied finance. And I was really attracted to research because I really loved going really deep on an industry, on a sector, and becoming the subject matter expert. So out of college, I did equity research at a investment bank, Credit Suisse, and I covered the fintech and payments sector. And it was through that angle that I came across Bitcoin and blockchain and crypto, and kind of fell down the rabbit hole and quickly discovered that there was a lot more to this space than just that. And we actually started doing some work on this space, started publishing some content, doing analysis on the ecosystem when I was at Credit Suisse. And eventually, this was back in 2017, the head of research said, I don't want you to write about this space, focus on your coverage universe, because technically there was no direct business model for the bank in crypto at that point in time. So I saw that there was clearly appetite from the institutional investors that we were talking to learn more about the space, but nobody was really doing formal research in a form factor that they were accustomed to, unbiased, high quality, deep analysis. And I felt like that was a gap that I wanted to help fill. So I left Credit Suisse and joined Circle to build out the Circle research function. Did that for about a year and a half, and then I went to Fidelity Digital Assets to build research there, and then eventually got to the point where I felt like research was an amazing way to get my foot in the door, but I wanted to actually deploy capital into the really interesting projects that I was seeing at the early stage, especially with the rise of DeFi summer and NFTs bringing more mainstream attention to crypto. So, Matt and Nick, who are the co-founders of Castle Island, eventually decided that they wanted to build out the team, and we connected, and it was a no-brainer because I had known them for a long time, and I've been at Castle Island for about a year now, and I've never had more fun professionally.
A total OG.
Sorry, that was a little long.
No, not at all.
That was awesome. I actually learned a few things about her I didn't know, and she's like my best friend, so amazing. Wow, I'm honored to be next to you right now, and to you as well. But I guess a bit about myself. Similarly to Rhia, I also grew up living in different places, and before I got into crypto, I did a bunch of different things. Mainly my first focus was environment, and still in the financial side, because that's what I study. I study finance and computer science. So my first job out of college was actually at a market maker in Amsterdam, and we were covering environmental commodities, which is all these like carbon credits and all these other similar products that you hear a lot about. And after spending there a year, I was a little frustrated about the financial infrastructure. A lot of things that you just learn about how the financial world works, which is more tailored to high net worth individuals or large institutions, and not that much for like people like us every day, right? Like retail folks and stuff. So from there, I moved to Boston to go to grad school there, and I got a lot more involved with the crypto community there. I had great professors like Ron Canetti and Ahmed Kapoor, if any of these names ring a bell. And there I also got really involved with the Women in Blockchain community. And I became a member 3-4 years ago and started helping out through events and stuff. And through there, I got more involved with the community and landed my first job at LedgerX, which is the first regulated exchange in the US for crypto options and futures. And what I liked about these guys is that they offer derivatives for retail people because their contract size was so small that you didn't need to have any more like $100,000 or more to trade, but you could just do it with like $20 or $50. You can start already building some sort of like financial pillow or whatever you want to call it through them. And I spent there about a year. LedgerX now got actually acquired by FTX, so it was nice to be part of this growth. And then I moved more on the institutional side, which is a little bit, yeah, it's funny, but I did that because I realized that we do need large amounts of capital to come into this space. And I felt like I needed to work there, and I got a really good opportunity to just develop that side, which after spending also a year there moved me to LedgerPrime, which is also part of the LedgerX holdings, because another like great opportunity for me to continue developing this like institutional side to be able to get more retail adoption. So that's a little bit about me.
So going back to your experience, I'm going to be redundant here, but you know, like how did you experience blockchain in this last job that you're having?
At Paradigm or?
No, at LedgerPrime.
LedgerPrime. At LedgerPrime, we actually started as market makers for LedgerX. Which means that we were the ones providing the buy and sell side on the exchange. So I really worked together with the team already when I started at LedgerX, and it's a fully crypto native fund. We have never touched anything outside of crypto, and then from there, we were very early. We were one of the very first funds touching options, and now fast forward 5-6 years, we're like basically one of the largest market makers for options, and we have an OTC desk for options. We do treasury management as well. So that's and it's all basically, the main goal is to grow all any like crypto protocol funds, whatnot, to eventually just accept anyone, with accept I mean like adopt any other institution, and then from there just get also the adoption from the rest of the folks.
So given that I am a huge fan of Nick, and Nick has been a huge maxi in terms of Bitcoin for a very long time, I would love to hear your thoughts on the progression going from Bitcoin into decentralized everything, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bitcoin was the first killer app for this technology, right? It introduced blockchain technology to the world, and it started at the most foundational level, which is monetary networks. And, you know, how do we disrupt or bring more transparency, fairness, censorship resistance to monetary networks? And from that point in time, you know, you've seen a progression in the stack. So the next kind of killer app was, as Laura mentioned, financial networks. And that resulted in the creation of decentralized financial applications across lending and trading and borrowing and collateral and options and derivatives and all of the above, right? I think what I want to point out there is there are different properties that blockchain technology and crypto enables. Decentralization is one of them, but a lot of these applications are not fully decentralized, and they're kind of undergoing progressive decentralization. But I think what is really important with DeFi, or the properties of blockchain, of crypto, that they're really taking advantage of, is transparency and accountability. And that's what I think they're really leveraging and showcasing. And then you have the disruption of tech oligopolies, right? The Facebooks, the Twitters of the world. And we have yet to see applications really get the same type of usage there, but you are really seeing early builders recognizing that opportunity and recognizing that, you know, these networks should be owned and governed by the builders and the users, as opposed to a board of directors of these tech companies. So I think that's where we've really seen the progression, starting at the foundation with monetary networks, then going into financial networks, and then going into tech networks. So yeah, that's kind of how I would describe that progression.
And I do think that eventually it's the spirit of blockchain to become decentralized, right? And so you don't allow a baby to walk by itself. You monitor that. And so eventually that also means that, you know, those companies that are being created in the blockchain, you know, they'll have that kind of progression.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I think it was Jesse Walden, who is the founder of Variant, that coined this term progressive decentralization. But when you're building an application early on, you want to have control over, you know, the key design decisions. And once you have that foundational infrastructure in place, then you can start to give more decision-making power to different parts of the community. And that's how you kind of facilitate this progressive decentralization. And we're definitely starting to see that in practice now.
Wow. So now that we have established that they are two powerhouses, I'm going to shake a little bit some of the things, and I'm going to bring a little bit of data. I always love data. And so if you think about investing in women, it's not really a necessity anymore. It's more of, you know, it's kind of financially sound. And I'm here to back it up with data, okay? So, so teams with at least one female founder exit faster. 6.9 years versus 7.4 years for all male teams. According to First Round, companies with a female founder performed 63 better than their investments with all male founding teams. And yet, sad for many of us, last year, women-led startup received only 2.3% of venture funding. In addition, 65% of venture funds still have no female check writer. So these two stats are very much related. Female VCs are 2 times more likely to fund a female founder than male VC. What has been your experience? Do you see the market evolving from that as opposed to the traditional markets? Have you had any challenges, if anything?
I can kick it off. So these stats are related to across the board venture, not specific to crypto, right? I mean, my personal experience in the space has been one that is very merit-based, that, you know, the progression that I have seen in my career over the last 4 years that I've been involved in crypto, I could not have imagined in traditional finance in any way, shape, or form. In traditional finance, you have a path, you know, 2 years as an analyst, and then you get promoted to an associate, and then, you know, you do 2-3 years as an associate, and then maybe, you know, you start to, this is at least for the equity research path, maybe, you know, it could be even longer, but you follow a predetermined path, and the likelihood of breaking out of that mold and achieving a goal just based purely on meritocracy and the work that you've done and the work that you put in, I think is definitely less in traditional finance than it has been in crypto. The roles that I've held, the trust that people have given me to run with things as a researcher, as a venture capital investor, because I'm passionate about the space, because, I've put in the work, I don't think that I could have achieved this level of success in traditional finance in that period of time.
I also want to add to that I do think also, and because it's a Women in Blockchain panel, right, that the crypto community is extremely welcoming, or mostly like a lot more welcoming to female than other industries. When I was in traditional finance, I never had an issue growing in my career when it comes to, because I'm a girl, someone will get a promotion before me. It was also pretty much married. Like, I didn't have any issues there. I was lucky in that sense, but I did have that path. And maybe there were comments here and there, but I just moved along, right? But on the trading floor, I was the only girl out of 100. That I can totally say. Whereas right now, on the crypto side, the way I break it, there's the financial side, there's the dev side, and then maybe more all the NFT side of crypto. On the financial side, it's pretty much balanced. Balanced, not like 50-50, but there's a good amount of us. On the dev side, I think there's also a good amount of us, but I think girls are a little more quiet when it comes to going to events and going out there and
Quiet? Not quiet.
You don't think so? On the dev side? Okay. I think we need to be more welcoming, just bring them with us, right? That's what I wanted to say. And then I'm not that involved with the third component, but yeah, I've had friends that are developers at big tech companies. I'm not gonna say a name, but just big tech companies, and hanging out with us and saying things like, "Wow, I see a lot of respect. I see a lot of course, small things happen like in any industry, right? But they felt empowered to just come join us." And that is something that, yeah, there's two things good about the industry. From one side, as Rhia is saying, just the progression in our careers. Same, given my age, I would probably still be maybe an analyst or analyst level 2 or whatever the equivalent is, instead of a VP. And then on the other side, it's also very welcoming. So I encourage everyone to come join us.
Yeah, I also want to add that because this industry is so young, we have a chance to build in the culture of making it balanced and diverse from the ground up. Whereas with tech and finance, you're basically, you have to undo years of the norms that people are accustomed to. Whereas in crypto, you're really building it into the DNA of the space from the ground up. And I think my experience has been that both men and women in this space are really intentional, for the most part, of welcoming women, making roles for women, being deliberate about who they're investing in and who they're hiring, and really being intentional about that. But there is room for improvement.
Of course, no, but that's totally true. I just feel like there's this concept of the month of the women. What does that mean? I haven't seen the month of a man. Why are we embracing the month for women? Shouldn't that be kind of, part of a life's work? Shouldn't that be part of... That's where you see the difference, right? In terms of the perception of women. And so I would love for you to share, I know you help women. I know you are really open to bring as many on board as we can. And so if you would love to speak about the different projects you're involved with, I would love that.
Yeah, so besides my full-time job, I'm also part of Women in Blockchain. And Mansi Vora, she founded Women in Blockchain, the Boston chapter, I think it was about 5 years ago. At first, we were hosting monthly meetups where we had a different female in the space just talking about their project, what they were doing. And then as the meetup continued to grow, we started also publishing research about women in the space or just like also, Rhia will talk now about another initiative that started also out of Women in Blockchain and other associations. But yeah, so we try to empower as many women as we can in any way. Trying anything you need, you can reach out to us directly on our website. It's actually blockchaingirls.org. But also on the website, we also have, we just posted a job board. So anyone that is either looking for a job or posting a job, just go there, add any information. We're happy to help. You can also reach out to me. I think my information should be there, but you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to help anyone as well. So that is my main side project where I'm really happy to speak with anyone and from either a job perspective or like if you have any project you want to bring to us, I will be happy to have a conversation.
I love the idea of a job board because I think one of the challenges is just for anyone entering crypto, but this, is specifically about women, is finding the opportunities and knowing where to look for the right opportunities, and also feeling like, who do I go to for advice, for guidance, to vet whether this company is legit? I feel like it's a signal if something is listed on the Women in Blockchain website that this company is legit. And then also just having the ability to reach out to the other women within the organization for help and understanding, what's the right path? How do I reach out to this company? I think is really admirable. So what Laura was hinting at is Komorebi DAO, which is an investment DAO that backs female founders building in the crypto space. And it was started by Women in Blockchain and another organization called She 256, which Clara and I actually joined around the same time. And it's been such a pleasure working with Clara. And, we bring the same rigor to investing in women founders that I bring, and I'm sure Clara brings, to investing across the board in our day jobs at Castle Island Ventures and VentureCity in your family office. And, I think there's a misconception that there are not women founders in the space, but I think Monsi, who is also a part of Women in Blockchain, and Komorebi, tweeted something some time ago saying that since Komorebi DAO launched about 6 months ago at this point in time, they had collectively talked to 100 female founders building in the crypto space, which is amazing. So they're there, and if you're intentional about finding them, you'll find them. And I can't remember how many investments we've made, but I think it's like 5 to 6 at this point in time. So, that just shows you that we are bringing the same criteria that we bring to investing across the board that we do to investing in female founders, and there are really amazing female founders out there.
Well, and they're expanding globally now in terms of looking for female founders outside of the US, which is huge too, right?
I also want to mention, I'm a part of Komorebi, but I'm also part of another organization called EcoDAO. And EcoDAO is how do I describe it? We're trying to use NFTs to reframe donations as investments as opposed to sunk costs. So we launched, I think, back in October. And over that period of time, we've done 2 NFT drops, and they're both with female creators. And for each of them, we raised about like 15 to 30 ETH per project. 50% of the proceeds went to the creator, and then 25% went to EcoDAO Treasury to throw events for our community, and then 25% went to the Rainforest US Foundation.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Talking about impact. So, well, until 2008, 2018, there was a lack of women in blockchain. We have seen in 2019, 7% owning crypto, and I think it doubled for around 2021. So, do you feel blockchain unlocks that kind of financial freedom? I'll go with Laura first. I'm not going to be political about it, don't worry.
Well, when we were talking about this question a little bit, I guess what we're trying to say here about like financial freedom for women is the way I see it, and I'm not trying to be political here, but there's a lot of families that still the head of the house is either the father or the older brother or whatever, and they have access to everyone's finances, right? And it's just nice that now you finally have access to your own finances, and you don't need to depend on a third person for that, right? And that applies to many, many countries. That's what I like the most about the financial freedom or financial inclusion side for us, right? And I want to continue seeing women using these tools. And not only that, I'm on the financial side of crypto where it's derivatives, so it sounds scary, but I don't want it to be scary. I want to teach all of you how it's not scary at all, and you can use very basic strategies to generate yield and then even be less dependent, right? And be more yourself, and you have the tools. The tools are out there. We're building all this infrastructure for all of us. So yeah, that is
That's like
I can't wait.
exciting.
I need you to teach me too.
That's exciting.
We'll
Really.
do a monthly meetup.
I think there are a number of surveys that have shown that women are more likely to invest in crypto when they fully understand everything compared to men who will invest when they understand maybe 50 to 75%, right? And I think so it's definitely a generalization, but it's something I notice myself doing too, where I feel like, oh, I don't fully understand this, so I feel a little bit more risk averse. And I feel like maybe there's a way to reframe it where you say, you know, I'm going to experiment with this amount of capital, and I'm going to use this capital as a way to incentivize me to learn. So of course I'll do my research and maybe understand 50 to 75%, but then I'm going to make a small investment, and that'll force me to learn more because now I have skin in the game. So maybe that's something that we need to do a better job of shifting that mindset. But to your question about can this industry unlock financial freedom, yes, 100%. So one company that we invested in last year was Yellow Card, which is a exchange that caters to the African market. So they're a Pan-African crypto exchange. And as a part of the research that I was doing on Yellow Card, I got connected with someone who is known as the Bitcoin Lady. I think she's based in Botswana, and she actually created an organization in Botswana to further education about Bitcoin and digital assets for the people in her city. And she has a really inspiring story. I think if you just type in Bitcoin Lady on YouTube, you can learn about it all. And I'm sure I'm not going to accurately mention all of the facts right now, but her story was that her son was very sick with like a very rare heart condition. And I think she was either a single mother or she needed to work to raise money for this specific surgery. And she found work online. And to do that work, she was paid in Bitcoin. And at that point in time, when she found this work, the on and off ramps didn't exist. So I don't think she was actually able to leverage that income that she earned in Bitcoin towards this surgery. But it unlocked curiosity in her down the line, and it caused her to fall down the Bitcoin rabbit hole down the line when the infrastructure was there. And, you know, she made it her life's mission to empower others in her community with this asset, with this technology. And she's done an incredible job. So I think it's stories like that that definitely are not indicative of the entire space, but those kind of stories definitely keep me going.
Very powerful. So I guess Web3 can seem intimidating in the beginning. There's a huge, you know, educational step that could be daunting. So what would be a good, you know, like what would a woman or someone, whoever, coming into the space should be aware of, and could we find the best resources?
Okay, I can definitely kick it off. I think one thing that I love about this industry is that open source is in its DNA, right? So that trickles down all the way to education and content and research. So there's so much research available that's free and available to everyone. You just need to seek it out. And I think that the seeking it out part is definitely more challenging. But you have organizations like Women in Blockchain, like Komarebi, like She256, which actually ran multiple mentorship programs where you could apply to be a mentee, and She256 would pair you with a mentor in the crypto space and encourage you to meet with them on a monthly basis to ask questions about the industry and ask for professional help and ask for help, you know, understanding the space. And since then, there's just been an explosion in organizations that are trying to onboard more women into crypto. Things like Boys Club Crypto, which is right now at its most basic level, just a Discord group of really incredibly smart women across different verticals and expertise. And you can go in there and ask any question, you know, related to whatever topic in the space that you're interested in. You have things like SheFi, which is actually founded and run by a really good friend, Maggie Love. And she runs different cohorts, you know, that span a few months at any given time, where she walks you through how to use different DeFi applications and the core foundational concepts of DeFi. So you have so many resources available to you. And I would encourage, you know, visiting websites like Women in Blockchain, visiting Komarebi's website, but also make a Twitter account and follow all of these organizations and just start there. Make a Discord account and join some of these Discords and just start asking questions and introduce yourself. And that's the first step that'll kind of push you to learn more.
Yeah, we do have on Women in Blockchain website, we have a lot of resources. We have a guide also, like one-on-one blockchain, with a lot of links to different blogs as well. I think the issue is also finding the right blog. So Women in Blockchain, we gather a few of them together. We have a YouTube channel where actually there's a great video by Maggie Love where she talks about DeFi 101 as well, introduction to DeFi. And then there's a second video where a little more advanced, but I would also go check the website of the main protocols. They have also a lot of research there, great resources. Their documentation is impeccable. It's really, really good. And then, yeah, just check which are the top Twitter accounts you want to follow. And then one last thing, whenever I have friends that want to join crypto, my first question is, what do you want to do exactly? Because right now, crypto or Web3 has grown so much that it really touches almost everything, or a lot of things that Web2 already has apps built on, right? So what is it from Web3 that you really like? And then just deep dive, like check what is a protocol that is building more on that particular thing that you're interested in, and go that direction. Because otherwise, you get lost down the rabbit hole and not understand anything. But if you like focus on one thing, that would be my advice to get into Web3.
So before we wrap up, where can people find you both? and learn more about yourselves and the projects you're involved with?
Twitter, probably.
Twitter, for
yeah,
sure.
both on Twitter. My handle is my last name and my first name, so Vidiella Laura.
Mine is my first name and my last name, Rhia Bhutoria. And also highly recommend following Women in Blockchain on Twitter, Komarebi, Clara, obviously, and EcoDAO. And then I actually also, my firm, Castle Island Ventures, has a podcast on The Brink. We do a lot of
Amazing.
interviews. Yeah.
Really good, yeah.
Podcasts are also an amazing way. Like sometimes I'm like, I wish I had not done college and just listened to all of these podcasts that are now available. I would have learned like 10 times more. So yeah.
A huge round of applause to my girls.
Thank you, Clara.
Thank you so
It's a
much,
pleasure.
Clara.
It's a pleasure.